Okay, Abusua, latest update on Ken Oforiata, OSP, and Attorney General saga. The last time, eba be breaky, no ha, and Mam, Sir President Mahama ama OSP ultimatum, say onye den, on handy over Ken Oforiata and Docket, no two Attorney General. Now breaking news be about, and project say Addo ye screen no and chain amamono. Attorney General's department struggles to assess former finance minister Ken Ofori Atta Docket from OSP to trigger extradition process following unsuccessful request. Abusua, OSP Kevin Taylor eba be blasting no say ono NHS or protect NPP criminals ono ena ama Ken Oforiata ne extradition no delay na say all handy over Ken Oforiata Docket no ama Attorney General Abusua eno so akodane asem intinisisi ano oko OSP ne office ne Attorney General tensioner rise wo ho no enye asem keto akra na Docket na say OSP and handy over and farmer Attorney General and also adane asema sisi ano aye problem say ye de Ken Oforiata ebesa so aba back to Ghana enye asem keto akra until the pressure and mounting on Ken Oforiata no ene OSP kisi ejabe no enye pressure keto amome yanko na yanko nkotie ensem bia ekoso edefa on subscribe like and share ma afofron so ensa into me enkabia Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell so never any update be drop biano once able to me akabi medamase
board against corruption. We're grateful for your time. I'm sure you're also wondering how much time it will take the OSP to extradite Mr. Oforiata back into Ghana. What are your, what do you know currently of the situation? Have you heard of anything, or what are your sentiments towards what's happening currently?
Well, thank you very much. And I think Ken's situation is one that if persons have been following the chronology, even on the OSP website, you would recognize that at this point, the government of Ghana, through the Attorney General, is responsible for the extradition request that would get him back into the country. If you follow the chronology, he was supposed to have, he committed himself to showing up at the OSP by the 2nd of June. Mm-hmm. And then I think about 3 or 4 days before, we suddenly had information from the lawyers that he was not going to show up. And then on the 3rd of June, that's 24 hours after he failed to show up, the OSP wrote to the Chief of Staff asking that the government of Ghana, so this is a political decision, should trigger a extradition request. Yeah. And then we've seen a banter between the two. But my information is that the AG is seized with all the information it needs to have made this request by this point. So at the moment, the ball is firmly and squarely in the court of the Attorney General and the government of Ghana to make that request so that he can be brought into the country.
So we still haven't heard what is happening with the OSP. I mean, some time back, it was all over social media that Ken was on the streets in the US with his wife, with his backpack, walking, seeing that, I mean, from what others were gleaning from what they saw on social media, he looked hale and hearty. So would you say that the OSP is taking his time or not wanting to press on to bring the man back to the country to face charges?
I find all of that narrative incredulous. I mean, sometimes I don't know whether it is media that is not tracking its own reportage. First, the OSP was attacked for being insensitive when it was insisting the man would not show up. And they said, we are going to put him on red alert. They said, no, you shouldn't do that. Then the lawyers came, they took him off. He promised he would come in June. He failed. They put him back on red alert. People were not happy about it. I don't understand this continuous attack of the OSP. And now the actions to be taken are no longer in the court of the OSP, and yet people are saying the OSP is delaying.
But should the OSP move to the dictates of what people are saying, or move by what the law says, for him to, do what he's supposed to do?
And the OSP has been doing that. I mean, the OSP stuck to their guns in spite of all the backlash. They were being insensitive, and still said, no, we have every suspicion that he will not show up. So we are putting him on red alert. People were not happy with that. Upon all the commitments, all the way up to June 2nd, the man said he will appear. 3 or 4 days to June 2nd, he says, I cannot come for whatever reasons. Now, he's not saying he's in surgery. He's not saying he has whatever. And he's walking the streets of America. It's not a government decision. Honestly speaking, it is no longer in the court of the ages. In fact, I'm aware that this week they are likely to call a press conference where I think they've done further work where there are additional charges they are looking at. So the OSP has continued to work, trying to, as it were, mine the data they have. And in the information I have, they are likely to have additional charges they're going to press by the end of this week. The point of the matter is that I think that right now government needs to take that decision, make sure the extradition request goes. And we shouldn't have information leaking like it leaked over the weekend. I mean, that's scandalous. I think that somebody needs to plug those holes because it undermines our case in the eyes of the international agencies who should be supporting our extradition request. So I don't think that the OSP has been very slow at all. I think they've been very meticulous of what the timing of the correspondence. When he failed to show up on the 2nd, by the 3rd of June, they had written to the Chief of Staff. Chief of Staff reported, I think, responded 13th June. By the 20th, within a week, they had responded again, nominating their committee members. And I'm quite aware that they knew that they had not quite finished some of the documentation. So I don't see why there's this continuous lambasting of the OSP. At this point, the government of Ghana needs to take action, make sure the extradition request is made. And ideally, I don't know why media is not calling Ken and his representatives. Call the lawyers. Call Ken. Ask, why is the man who committed to come in June not here? We are in October.
Well, it's not like we haven't tried. We have tried, but the case is but the case is in the purview of the OSP. And we are hoping that him representing the state would have at least by now made a statement or at least given us an update on their investigations.
Well, I think that the OSP did that. The media report did that. If you go to their site, also is there. It is categorically stated on their website that a request has been made to the Attorney General department, who is seized with the authority to make such extradition requests. So what the OSP has done is to actually, escalate to the highest level, put this gentleman on the red notice, as they say, which as far as actions go, and indeed they did it speedily, because sometimes getting you on red alert or whatever they call it can take up to 3 or 6 months. In this case, within 1 week, they managed to convince the necessary authorities to put him on a red alert. Where we are now is that the OSP has asked the AGs to make an extradition request, and the information required for that already, as far as I'm concerned, is in the purview of the AGs. So let's now begin to ask the AGs what they've done. In fact, I'm actually also interested in what additional investigations have been done, because you see, the AGs remit covers economic crimes, financial crimes. They have YOCO, they have CID. I'm wondering what other investigations have been going on, because ideally there should have been simultaneous other investigations on the other issues that have come up. So what other dockets do we have? Let's not look at one entity that's been trying to do its best amidst all the lambasting and the, I don't know what to say. But I think the OSP has done its part. If you go to their website, it is clearly stated. In their media report, they clearly stated it. And by the end of this week, I am aware that they're going to have another, some kind of press conference or statement and give an update on where things are. At this point, the AGs is the one that needs to act on the Ken Ofori-Atta situation.
All right. I'll come to you on this interesting bit about the wealthy businessman who attempted to bribe ATNPs. At least the OSP says they've concluded that investigation, but I'll come to you shortly on that. Let's speak to Martin Pebo, who is also a lawyer and has been following keenly issues of corruption. Martin, we're yet to see Ken Ofori-Atta back in town, at least we're just learning that there will be a press conference to update us on event. But really, what do you make of the situation so far? We are yet to see the man in the country.
Yeah, so my thoughts are that, you see, we have asked that the special process.
Adam Senanu is disagreeing with you about the other option of the OSP seeking audience with Ken over phone, more or less, over the digital media. So, what do you still stand by that, though?
Yes. So you see, ask Adam Senanu. You see, maybe we are like the fight Adam Senanu does. We are all helping fight corruption and the rest. But you see, Adam, there comes a time where some of the points leave it to the technical people, because when you get in too much, you would cause a bit of confusion. Now let's do this. Let's do a bit of education. There's a law called Mutual Legal Assistance Act, right? Mm-hmm. So for criminal cases, when you need help, you go through it. Now, Ofori-Atta said you do video conference. I currently don't have the law here, but in times past, we read it. Before you do the video conference, the simple point we're making is that you can ask the U.S. authorities to take Ofori-Atta's statement for us. So they will take what we call caution statement. Then they will take charge statement. If there are any other things, we will act through that. That's why we made the law. So, Adam, I think this one, maybe we should talk behind the scenes so that we don't appear to be fighting in public. But please, we all want the law to work. So we have a law, we have a legal framework that allows us to get the U.S. authority. And we've debated this ad nauseam. So it's Ofori-Atta himself who said he will cooperate with the U.S. So, and when it comes to taking the statement, it's not any difficult thing. Once the Americans agree, they will ask him to come to whichever office of the FBI or which other investigating authority will use. Then they will take the statement from him. It's not rocket science.
But Mr. Pebu, it's been about 4 months now. From the time he did the surgery till now, we anticipate that things are much better now. What will it really take to bring him down? What does it entail to extradite him now? I mean, following the Interpol alert and everything now.
Yeah, so now, you know that one is a complex matter. You and I don't have all the facts. When you are doing extradition, it's not just law. There's also a lot of politics in it. So I don't want to go in there. All we can beg the American government is that they should also try and bring him down. But it's a lot more complex. Extradition is not straight. It's very complex. There are business interests. Ofori-Atta is invested in America. So sometimes these things too can, have an effect on the process, etc. America is looking for investment. Banks are not that good in America. They are also struggling. Of course, it's just that they are generally better off than us. But it's not as rosy as people think. So there will be the question of, hey, you want to throw out your investor quickly like that? What would other investors in America be thinking? That the day my country is looking for me, you will just give me up so quickly? So it's a very complex matter when it comes to the extradition thing. That's how come for me, I said, this is his country. He has some properties here. So let's start. If we start and he doesn't come, then the trial will go on without him. That's how come we say that let's do the processes, take the offer. Have you gone to Ofori-Atta to take a statement in America? And he says no. No, he says he will do it. So let's do it. Then we can start the trial here. Article 19, Clause 3. Let me read it. People have been misleading others. In our Constitution, there is no requirement that Ofori-Atta should come to court day one and then travel and not come back before you can continue. No. Article 19, Clause 3 just simply says that if you know there is a criminal case against you and you don't come, we can go and leave you. That's the trial can go on in your absence.
Right.
Let's read it. Right. Trial in absentia, Article 19, Clause 3A.
Right. All right.
The trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified. So the thing is notification. So if you take Oforiata's statements in the U.S., then afterwards you send him notice through the same channels that we are starting the trial, and he says he will not come, then the judge will go on.
All right.
Yes, let's use the law. Let's use the law. Let's start something. We cannot go into battle with just plan A. Nobody goes to battle like that. That it means you are not even prepared for battle. Ask the military generals. Nobody goes to war with just one plan. A general who goes to war with one plan is not prepared for the war. A general who goes to war with just one plan is not prepared for the war. You have plan C.
Right. Thank you so much, Martin People. And he's telling the OSP to implement Article 19.3 of the 1992 Constitution. Thank you so much.
If that final so if we have there as when tells that they are, if not use the plan D, nobody goes to war with one. Here plan A.
Martin, I can hardly hear you. Could you reposition yourself so that we can hear properly?
Hello?
Yes, I hope we can maintain this. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, so maybe should I repeat?
Yes, you should.
I said my thoughts on this matter are that the OSP failed to take the plan B, which is to take Oforiata's offer to cooperate with the OSP while it's in the US. If we are taking that offer, by now we could have done or at least started trial that first. We not focus. If the man can be careful that if they have done, that could have tied a trial map that is out for giving up it, but that our mind. At the same time, that come in Ghana, come in court part one account for the child. So let's when you read the case and I not here, all that require is that Oforiata that is not there that, and one those that he doesn't get going up that is not that
it's really unfortunate, Martin. It's really difficult hearing what you're saying, but I'm certain you're making so much sense in there. But we'll try and establish a correct line to you so that we can hear you properly on this matter. That's Martin People, private legal practitioner. But Adam Sananu is still with me. Adam, so we're learning from the OSP that this investigation, that this wealthy businessman attempted to bribe 80 MPs to get Ken Oforiata out as finance minister in the then administration, Akuffo administration. That investigation has been concluded. And let me just, read excerpts of that statement on the special prosecutor's website. And they're saying that the investigation showed that a wealthy businessman did, in fact, attempt to offer money to a section of the majority caucus of parliament with the intention of influencing their demand for the resignation or removal of Mr. Oforiata as Minister for Finance. It also showed that the monetary offer was apparently rejected by the contacted members of Parliament. However, the potential key witness, Mr. Apia Kubi's refusal to disclose the identity of the suspect, effectively defeated the investigation. The institution of criminal proceedings would necessarily require the input and cooperation of Mr. Apia Kubi, without which the case will not pass muster in respect of the requisite standard establishing guilt, which is proof beyond reasonable doubt. Now, the investigation may be reopened should the circumstances and further facts so dictate. So, what do you make of this investigation? They're saying that Mr. Apia Kubi is unwilling to, expose the identity of this wealthy businessman. Are you satisfied with the investigation so far? Was some also thinking that about 80 MPs where there was an attempt to bribe 80 MPs? So if Mr. Apiakubi is not forthcoming, can they seek audience with these 80 MPs? At least one person can, tell us who this wealthy businessman is.
Well, first, let me make a quick comment because I heard part of what Martin was trying to say. So just a quick comment that the understanding that Mr. Ofori could have been interviewed whilst he was still in the US, I believe is a non-starter. I fully disagree with Martin when he wants to suggest that was an option we should take. Because just in case the evidence is such that Mr. Ofori was going to be found guilty, if he was in the US and the evidence shows that this is somebody who should be sanctioned, what was the OSP going to do? It just complicates it. So, Martin, I'm sorry, that kind of argument is neither here nor there. Now, the businessman. When the political parties take a position, it's very difficult because your whole campaign and how the party will treat you can become compromised. So I can well understand that having first said that we want to move this man from his position because we see the country is not doing well. And then there were all these negotiations. I heard they were called to the presidency and what have you. It must have been difficult for the 80 plus to now then speak out. My challenge is this, and I said it at the time, from an ethical leadership perspective, all of us who take up leadership positions, who are at the forefront of making sure or wanting this country to move forward, must know what is right. Do what is right ourselves and influence those around us to do what is right when it matters most. Yeah. And I think that this was a failure by Mr. Apiakubi at the time, because I thought that the MPs and the collective of parliament, from an ethical perspective, should have known that for this country to move forward, sometimes those sacrifices must be made. Mm. And so I still expect Mr. Apiakubi, Honorable Apiakubi, wherever he is, to reflect on these matters, especially if he's a Christian, because I think at the time somebody had said he was a Christian to me. I said, look, guys, when we say we are persons of faith, there are things we should stand up for. And when you yourself are guilty, you must pay the penalty for it. Mm. So I am disappointed in the group that failed to speak up, especially the one who spoke up at the time, because I think he should have had the strength of character to still have gone through with speaking to the issues.
Mm. Right. We seem to have Martin back on the line. Martin, so...
Okay, abusuya we ne ensema ekoso ewo political highway so docket of Ken Ofori in the cases no abusuya AttorneyGeneral finding it difficult say ne nsabeka honsem na ye de brame beda masese mo jepene kokoti sa ensem we e de maya ha Ghana Politics Avenue. So and don't forget to click on the notification bell send any updates be drop bia no wonso wonsa ebetumi akabi medamase.